this next template features a tagline that repeats in the background. That is all editable text with a solid color behind it and then an image on top. So I'm going to click on this frame. I'm going to go over to uploads. You would be clicking probably this button right here to upload your file. I'm going to head over here. I'm going to click and drag that into my frame. And again, if I want to move this around or scale it, I think there's a little bit too much negative space up here and then a lot of detail at the bottom. And I want to balance that out. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to move this up a tad. Might make it a little bit bigger too. You can kind of play around with that. All right. Good. Oh, see, I have this little line here. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but I don't like it when it cuts off like that. All right, let's see if that's better. That's better. Okay, now if I want to, this is just a large text box, but again, I am going to go back, clicking this image, hit position, go over to layers. I'm gonna lock this just so I don't mess it up so that I can edit this text a little bit more freely. Okay, so here is the deal with colors. I have a background color set right here. If I click on that, this background color is selected and you see this little circle. This is where I can change that color. So this is where you're going to add your brand color. These are what I'm currently using in a document, but if I need to add a new color, I'm gonna click on this little plus sign with kind of a rainbow and it tells you add a new color. This is where you can type in your HTML or hex code. Now, if you don't have that exact combination, I will show you. If you go to Google and you type in RGB2 hex, it gives you this color picker and you can type in your RGB numbers. So this is like 66, 135, 245. You just separate them with a comma. You don't even need a space between them. It's not very picky. Have RGB or CMYK and you need to convert it to a hex. This is where you can do that. If I just typed in like black is 0, 0, 0. The hex for that is like this hashtag and then it's always 6 digits, numbers and letters. So that's how you can convert that. So you just have to get your hex code. This is where you're going to put it in and that will change your background color. Once you've used that, you'll be able to just pick it from your document colors, or if you already have a brand kit set up, you can save them in here. I'm going to leave that because I'm okay with the color. So going back to the layers, so that one's good. And then this is my text box. See, you can see all of that is highlighted now. All I did was type in the tagline and I copy pasted a bunch of times within this text box to get it to repeat like this to make it kind of a pattern. And then you can just play around again with these advanced settings to figure out, you know, what your letter spacing is. If you have a script, make sure that's at 0. Script should never use letter spacing that is bigger or smaller because the designer has specifically calculated where those letters need to go in order to connect like a true script. That's, if you have followed me, that's one of my biggest pet peeves as a designer is when people spread out letters in script. They should always be connected. Line spacing, I made it the vertical space between each line shorter. I don't want a lot of space because I want it to feel like a well-balanced pattern. So you can make that smaller or larger depending on the look you want. And again, you can just go in here and retype that out in whatever font you have chosen for your titles. And I did kind of a tone on tone here. So I did a lighter with a slightly darker. If you have two colors that are super contrasty, you can just select this and then you can play with the transparency. Oh, I already have it set to 50. So if this was full, it would look like that. And again, it just depends on what look you want. I want it to be subtle so that people actually pay attention to the image, not to the background. The background is just kind of a supporting element. If I want it to be super subtle, I can bring it down to 25, but I had it set at 50.